Welcome back everyone. Today in my material handling channel section we are going to discuss about the robotic handling. Now in case of robotic handling, it is basically nothing but automated material handling. In case of material handling, you already know that how material handling system has been designed, what is material handling system, what is the basic purpose of material handling system, and what are the equipments we have used for material handling system. So basically our main objective in material handling system is to transport material from one place to another place with or without manpower. Now in case of material handling system, you know that there are different material handling system material handling equipments we have used throughout this entire lecture session. Okay, so we have already discussed about each and every material handling system equipment, and you know that most of that system must include manpower or human effort. Okay, so regardless of that human effort, since we are in such a environment where most of the items are being moved, or you can say most of the items they are being associated in case of a fully automated system. That means where the human effort is being decreased and the automated system efficiency, or you can say the total automated system uh, uh, environment has been included. Now on verge of this total automated system, for gaining more and more efficiency, we are now going to discuss what is robotic handling system. Basically this robotic handling system is mostly depending on various type of robots, as well as you can say the fully automated CNC machines. Now we are going to discuss what is this automated material handling. First, you must note that you must know the automated material handling system and what is the basic difference between the normal material handling system and automated material handling system. So in case of automated material handling system, which is abbreviated as AMH, that refers to any automation that reduces or eliminates the need for humans to check in, check out, sort material, or to move items containing any kind of material. Now the material mechanical equipment used in MH system includes check-in machine, sorters, conveyors, then singulators, trackers, unstackers, beans, trolleys, everything what we have already discussed earlier. But all of these items, they are being computerized and automated controlled. Now to maintain this automated material handling system, it actually improves the efficiency of transportation, storage, and retrieval of materials. Okay, if I give you an example like computerized conveyors and automated storage retrieval system, which is short formed at ASRS, in which computers direct automatic loaders to pick and place items. Then automated guided vehicle, what we will be studying later, AGV systems, they are used to embedded floorwares to direct driverless vehicles to various location in the plant. Now basic benefit of this automated material handling system is basically it includes the quicker material movement. It also lowered the inventories and storage space. It also reduced the product damage and higher productivity. So in case of automated material handling system, you know that this type of system is very much important to our modern industry, as we are going through another industrial revolution and we are going fully automated system, which actually gives us more and more efficiency with less time. Now, material handling at the workplace may be defined as the handling of material after it has been delivered to use for the workplace and before it again picked up by some conventional handling process and equipment. So, basically, in case of automated material handling system, all of these thing can be easily sorted out, and we can and various studies they have already proved that beyond any doubt in most of the manufacturing operations handling of individual job takes more time that of the processing of the jobs. So various activities that at the workplace may be grouped under different phase. So I have you can already see these are the different phases mentioned over here. That is the preparatory stage, where handling of material is adjacent to the workplace. Then there is the feeding, which is nothing but placing and directing material closer to the workplace. Then positioning, then manipulating, removing. That means removing means taking out of different type of jigs fixture. Then keeping position for moving next workplace, and transporting, which is a very important part. Now, this material handling at workplace is not only monotonous and fatiguing, but involves personal safety for the operators. Moreover, time that can be saved from this handling time directly increases the productivity of the manufacturing process. In this context, we can say that industrial robots or automated material handling system has been increasingly used in material handling at the workplace, which reduces the total system cost and the total system efficiency. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the industrial robots and their classification. Basically, a robot is a reprogrammable multifunctional manipulator which is designed to move material parts, tools, or specialized device through a variable programmed motion for the performance of a variety of tasks. Now, in case of industrial robots, out of many possible industrial tasks like spot welding, arc welding, material handling, spray painting, assembling of parts, then other different type of tasks, material handling is one of the major jobs in which industrial robots are being used. Now, we are not going fully details about these robotic systems, but we'll just give an overview of these industrial robots and their major components as well as their specifications. Okay, so in case of components of a industrial robots, it actually has main four parts. The number one parts, which is the robot manipulator. Now, in case of the robot manipulator, industry specific robots, they perform several tasks such as picking and placing objects, and they move and their movement is adapted from observing how similar manual tasks are handled by a fully functioning human arm. Such robotic arm are also known as robotic manipulators. These manipulators were originally used for application concerning biohazardous or radioactive materials, or used as in inaccessible place. Now, in case of this robot manipulator, the arm and the body of the robot are used to move and position parts or tools within a work envelope. They actually formed of three joints connecting by larger links. In case of robot arm, you can say that robotic manipulators, the arm and the body of the robot, which consists of three joints, they can be used as a different type of robotic environment. Okay, they can be used to move and place objects or tools with the workplace. Different types of arms are available over here. Now, in case of different types of arm, you can say there are the Cartesian geometry arm, which employs the prismatic joints to reach any position of its rectangular workspace by using Cartesian motion of the link. Then there is cylindrical geometry arm, which can be replaced by the waist joint and Cartesian arm with a revolute joint. Then there is polar or spherical geometry arm, and there is articulated or revolute geometry arm. Now, this manipulator is capable of movement in various directions and does the work for a robot. It can be convenient, and it can be compared with the arm of human. Through a combination of motion at the joint, the manipulator can achieve different desired positioning and orientation. Now, this apart from this arm and body, there is the robot wrist, which is used to orient the parts or tools at the work location, and it only consists of 2 or 3 compact joints. These robot manipulators are created to form a sequence of link and joint combination. The link at the right rigid member connecting to the joints or axes. These axes are movable components of the robotic manipulator that cause relative motion between the adjoining links. The mechanical joints used to construct the robotic arm and manipulator consist of 5 principal types. 2 of joints are linear, in which the relative motion between adjacent links is non-rotational, and 3 are the rotary types, in which the relative motion involves rotation between links. The arm body section of the robotic manipulator is based on one of the 4 configuration. Okay, each of these configuration provides a different work envelope and it suits for different application. So this is the basic part of the robotic arm or and wrist, which is actually known as the manipulator. The next part what we are going to discuss, that is about the sensing device or the robotic sensing. Now robotic sensing is a very sub-area of robotic science which intend to give the robot a sensing capabilities so that robots becomes more human-like. Okay, robotic sensing mainly gives robot the ability to see, touch, hear and move, the basic sensing elements, and they use algorithms which requires environmental feedback. Now, in case of sensing device for sensor system, conventional robots lack comprehensive sensory system and hence are not capable of collecting data from the world around them. As human, we can see, hear and touch, smell and taste. However, it is not required that robot must smell, taste or process sound, but it is essential that they see and feel an object. Now, the most important thing, how a robot see. A photoelectric cell is the simple optical system used in robot. The cell enables the robot to decide yes or no situation is in its field of vision, such as whether a particular piece of equipment is there available or not. For instance, if the robot looks at the particular location to locate a tool, in the event of the tool being present, light will be reflected from this item and delivered to the photoelectric cell of the robot. The light waves are then converted to an electrical current which is transmitted to the brain of the robot. Television cameras are also used by robots. Image received by the robots are processed by comparing the received image with the image they have previously been sorted in the robotic system. So basically there are different part of robotic controller about the status of the manipulator. Now these can be differentiated by non-visual and visual. Now in case of the visual sensing, the RFID, that means radio frequency identification, is a new technology which transmits the radio signal to a tag on the object that emits back an identification codes. Now basically this RFID actually aims for 3 procedures, that is sensation, estimation and matching. Now apart from the visual, there is non-visual technique which is actually how the robot feels. Now in case of feeling, tactile sensors, they are used to simulate the human sense of touch. One tactile sensor is a simple switch it is a simple switch which actually moves from one position to another when fingers of the robot contacts a solid object. The switch may close when the finger contacts the object, allowing the flow of an electric current to the brain. Combining the several tactile sensors will result in a more sophisticated sense of touch. Hence, the robot will be able to estimate the size and shape and the contours of an object examined. So, in case of robotic sensing, the vision touch is basically based on the image processing, signal processing system. Then there is the hearing part, where signal processing in case of accurate audio sensor requires a low internal noise contribution. So these are the different sensors by which we can say that a robot can work in case of a sensing elements. Basically, apart from this, all these sensors, what visual and non-visual sensor, there is another type of sensing element we can what robots are used, that is for the movement sensor, which is a basic sensor which is a motion detector sensor for efficient robot exploration, which actually saves times and resources. The efficiency is measured by the optimality and competitiveness. Then optimal boundary exploration, it is possible only when a robot has a square sensing area, starts at the boundary. Okay, in complete geometric and settings, all of these type of sensing elements, they can be used for a sensory device in case of a robotic system. The next thing what we are going to discuss for a robot, that is the robot controller. So basically robot controller is an electrical controller which is considered as the brain of a robot. It is actually similar to a computer which stores data relating to the robot and works environment, as well as the executing program in order to operate the robot. The control system includes programs, data algorithms, logic analysis, and a number of other activities helping the robot to perform. Industrial controllers either non-servos, point-to-point servos, or continuous point servos. A pick and place robot or non-servo robots move components from one place to another. The movement of the non-servo robot is manipulated by the controller. The controller receives a signal from the stop switch, and then next movement is started. Advanced control systems are present in advanced robots. Two electronic boards connected with flex cables comprise the Mark Sausner rover brain. One is the power board and the other is CPU board, comprising item for power generation, power conditioning, and analog and digital input-output control, as well as the processing, power distribution, and data storage. It is possible to operate mobile robots by remote control or autonomously. Okay, instructions are provided by a human operator to a remote control robot. Peak programming of autonomous robots is fundamental to understanding their environment and to receive a command independently based on the knowledge they process. Some autonomous controls learn from the previous encounters, and they can be identified as situation process actions that delivered a successful or unsuccessful result and modify their behavior for success optimization. These activities are actually performed by this controller. Now, there is virtual robot controllers or VRC, which depends on whether the visionary systems provide a set point as input to the robot joint controllers or computer directly the joint level input, and whether the error signal is determined in task space coordinates or directly in terms of image pressures. Now these VRC, they are classified into basic four categories. There is dynamic look and moving system, direct visual servo control, position based virtual robot control, and image based virtual robot control. So based on all of that, the task is minimal at the sense in the sense that it is only constrains the degree of freedom of the tasks. They have a functional role. The formulation is actually based on use of contact conditions between usual surface that describe the usual mechanical joints or works. Based on all of this type of control actually works. The next part what we are going to discuss, that is the power conversion unit. Now in case of power conversion unit, you know that basically the robots are expected to work tireless hours, yielding perfect and precise result around the clock. But how they are being powered? They don't need food and water, they actually need a power source. The selection of a robotic power source should be the decision made in early stage of design, since it is impacting the total system. The main source of electrical power power for robots are the batteries. The type of battery that is used for a robot varies depending on the safety, life cycle, as well as weight. Lead acid batteries are common as for the silver cadmium batteries. Now rechargeable batteries and primary batteries, they are both used. Batteries that are not rechargeable are generally more powerful. Other options for robot power source are thermoelectric generator, which converts heat directly into electricity. Then there is fuel cells, which are similar to the batteries except fuel and oxidants are constantly supplied. Then supercapacitors, which stores high energy as a charge built up on plates, and tethers, which connect the robots to a power supply. This option is entirely removes the power source from the robot, which saves weight and space, but since the robot constantly has to be connected, it can be a nuisance as well. Now there are different power source is used for different type of robots, and based on this power supply unit, they actually consist of step down transformer, then bridge rectifier, filter, regulator, and rechargeable battery. So these are the basic item, these basic four things, which is very much basic four components, which is very much important for any kind of robotic handling system or industrial robots. Now the next thing what we are going to discuss on automated material handling system, that is the automated guided vehicle. Basically AGV is the computer controlled and wheel based automated guided vehicles. Now before coming to that, we must know that this robotic handling system, the main application of robotic handling system is in material handling, process operation, and assembly and inspection. Now, work environment is one of the several characteristics that should be considered when selecting a robot for any kind of application. The hazardous characteristics of an industrial work tends to and promote to the substitutional robots for human labor. Hence, robots are being used in case of wide field in application of different industry. Now, when we are going to discuss about this AGV, automated guided vehicle, which is commonly known as driverless vehicles, are turning out to be an important part of the automated manufacturing system. With the shift from mass production to meet volume and meet variety, flexible manufacturing systems are increasingly in use. They require not only machine flexible but also the material handling, storage, and retrieval flexibility. Hence, the importance of AGV has grown in a severe way. It is a battery-powered driverless vehicle with programming capabilities for destination, path selection, and positioning. The AGV belongs to a class of highly flexible, intelligent, and versatile material handling system used to transport materials from various loading section to various unloading section throughout the facility. The capability of material handling system in case of automated material handling system is very much related to collision avoidance, and which is nearly inbuilt in case of a AGVs. Okay, you can see there are different industrial area where this automated guided vehicle can be used, which is been given over here. You can study that part. Now these AGVs, they are versatile in nature and process flexible material handling system. They use modern microprocessor technology to guide a vehicle along a prescribed path and makes a correction of the vehicle stress from path. A system controller receives instructions directly from the host computer and communicates with the other vehicles, and that issues appropriate commands to each vehicle. To avoid collision, this communication is necessary among all the AGVs. Now, in case of components, you can say there are basic four components. That is, number one is the vehicle, which is used to move the material within the system without a human operator. Then number two, that is the guide path that guides the vehicle to move along the path. Then number three is the control unit, which monitors and directs system operations, including feedback on moves, inventory, and vehicles. And the last one is the computer interface. Actually, it is connected to other computers and systems such as mainframe host computer. Now, the automatic storage and retrieval system, which is abbreviated as ASRS system, and the flexible manufacturing system fully dependent on this computer interface, which is a very integral part of this AGV. Now we know that these are the basic components of AGV, and based on these components, there are different type of automated guided vehicles are able to cater different service requirements. These vehicles includes the AGVs towing vehicles, unit load transporters, pallet trucks, forklift trucks, light load transporters, assembly line vehicles. Now, the level of sophistication of the AGVs are increased to allow automatic positioning and pick-up drop, that is P and D of cargo. They also perform PD service between machine work centers, storage racks, and ASRS. ASRS, you know that automated storage and retrieval system. They also capable of two-way travel at the same path and real-time dispatching under the control of the computer. Now, AGVS towing vehicles were the earliest variety to be introduced. A towing vehicle is an automated guided tractor. Then AGVS pallet trucks are designed, which is actually used for lifting, maneuver and transport palletized load. It is used for picking up or dropping offload forms and on the floor level, then removing the need for flexible strands. Then there is the AGVS forklift trucks, which has a capability to pick up and drop off palletized load both floor level and on strands, and then pick up. It can also have a capability to pick up at a height which can be different from the drop off height. Then there is AGVS light load transporter, which is applied in handling small and light parts over a moderate distance and distribute the parts between the storage and number of workstations. Then there is the AGVS assembly line vehicles, which are acceleration of the light load transporter for application of involving serial assembly process. Now we are going to discuss about the control system of AGVS, which also includes the guidance system and routing of AGVS. Now, in case of a guidance system for AGVS, the main purpose of guidance system to keep the vehicle in the pre-designed and predestinated path. The main advantage of AGVS guiding system is that the guide path can be changed easily at low cost compared to the high cost of modifying fixed path equipment such as conveyors, chains and tow lines. Okay, many guidance systems are available and their selection will be depend on need and application and environmental constraints. In case of routing the AGVS routing means to determine how the vehicle conforms the path and takes the shortest path between 2 points. The commonly used methods are a frequency selection method and path switch selection method. The AGVS control system are basically three type of system, that is computer control, remote dispatch control and manual control. In case of computer control, all the exchange and AGVS vehicles movements are controlled and monitored by system controller. The guide path controller controls the guide path of the AGVS and transfer the information to the AGVS process controller. Movements of AGVS vehicles are directly controlled by the AGVS process controller. Then remote dispatch control system, where a human operator controls the movement of a AGVS through a remote control station, and the control station sends the destination instruction directly to the vehicle. The last one is the manual control system, where the operator loads the vehicle and enters a destination into the onboard control panel of the vehicle. The efficiency of the system depends on the skill of the operator for this type of manual control system. The next thing what we are going to discuss, that is how the flow path or the system is designed for AGVS. Now the flow path design is one of the most important process in the AGVS system design. Some of the important decisions must included in the flow path design, that are the type of the guide path layout, flow path within the layout, the number and location of the load transfer points, and load transfer function station storage space. Areas of application of these AGVs determines the critical issues like guide path layout and place and delivery location points and load transfer station storage space. However, the complexity of this control and economic consideration influence the direction of the flows. Vehicle blocking, congestions and unloaded of the vehicle travels are one of the most prime issues which must be taken into consideration and depend on the number of the vehicles and the request for the vehicle from various pickup and delivery station. Simulation is used to develop the realistic design under aforementioned circumstances. The type of the information required for developing a simulation model that includes layout of the departments, aisles, location of the load transfer station, and charts containing the material flow mentions between two departments. Now, in case of the AGVS, there are some specific notation we must understand, which actually used for estimation of the number of AGVs required in a certain system, for which is a very important element for a system design. So in case of this notation, you can see on the right hand side, the d suffix small d, that is the total average loaded travel distance, d suffix small c, that is the total average empty travel distance, n suffix small dr, that is the number of deliveries required per hour, then pre suffix for small f, that is the traffic factor, which actually accounts the blocking of vehicles and waiting for the vehicles in line and intersections. So if there is no traffic, then it will be considered as 1, and when there is more vehicles are involved, it lies between 0.85 to 1. Small v is the vehicle speed, t suffix h is the loading and unloading time. So what we are going to find out, that is total time per delivery per vehicle, that is t suffix dv, and it is the summation of loaded travel time, loading and unloading time, and empty travel time. So you see the formula is combined of 3 specific unit, that is one is the loading and unloading time, that is given as d suffix d by small v, and there is the th is nothing but loading and unloading time, and total average loaded travel distance, that is given by d suffix d by v, and unloaded traveling distance, that is d suffix c by v. So this is the total time required for loading, unloading and empty travel. Then number of deliveries per vehicle per hour, that is given by n suffix d, that is 60 into t suffix f, that is traffic factor, by the total time per delivery per vehicle, that is t suffix dv, and number of automated guided vehicle is the ratio of n suffix dr by n suffix d. Okay, so these are the basic equations which you will need to find out what is the total time per delivery per vehicle is required, then to number of deliveries and number of automated guided vehicles. Okay. It actually provides an approximate estimate of the number of vehicles, and if you see some kind of example, then you will find out how this type of system is worked. Okay. The basic application of robotic handling system, what we have already discussed, that is the material transfer and machine loading and unloading section. Now in case of robotic handling system, it is a very important phenomena in nowadays, and it is a very important and integral part for a flexible manufacturing system, where our most and prime concern is the maximum efficiency to be obtained from this total system. So this type of material handling system, these two categories, they are applicable to different phases of workplace handling, like feeding, positioning, manipulating and removing. So in modern days, most of the industries, they use different kind of robotic handling applying system, and as well as the automated guided vehicle to improve their manufacturing performance as well as their efficiency in case of manufacturing. So coming to the summary of this total lecture, so we have discussed the automated material handling system, which actually improves the efficiency of a certain system. Then we have discussed about the robotic system in case of automated material handling system, and the different part of robotic system. The basic 4 components are the manipulator, which combines of the robotic arm and wrist. Then the sensory device, which is the most important part, where the vision and visual and non-visual sensors are used. Then the controller part, or the brain part of any kind of robot, and the power conservation unit, which is most important for any kind of robot. This power conservation unit may be fuel cells, may be batteries, which may be rechargeable or chargeable battery. Okay. Then computer control and fuel based automated guided vehicles we have discussed, and these automated guided vehicles are the load carriers which travels along the floor of a facility without operator or driver. These AGVs are most important area for most important item for any kind of modern industrial area, where the efficiency is the most important part for manufacturing or production section. these AGVs can be traveled between two manufacturing units of a certain plant. And these material handling by robots are used in case of two categories of two categories in any kind of industry, that is material transfer and machine loading and unloading in case of a material handling system. Now this material handling system by robots or automated material handling system is a very important phenomena in nowadays, and this will be our future material handling system in coming days. And you must know that automated material handling system plays a very important role in modernization of material handling, and it will give a very high accuracy of material handling system. And very important point is that it also provides us a high efficiency or higher efficiency than that of the conventional material handling system, which we have used and which we have already discussed in our earlier videos. Thank you for watching my video. If you find any difficulty in understanding in any kind of section, you may write under the comment section. Please like my video, share if you can, and please subscribe my channel for getting more and more video. Thank you.